Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I still remember the night like it happened yesterday. Even though years have passed and life has taken turns I never could have planned. That evening started with me standing in front of my bathroom mirror, adjusting the collar of a shirt I hadn't worn since my wife passed. Blind date. The words alone felt strange. I wasn't nervous about meeting a woman, I was nervous about hope. After losing someone, hope feels dangerous. Like glass in your hands. I was a single dad now, raising my son on my own. Learning how to be enough when I constantly felt like I was falling short. My buddy Mark had set the whole thing up. He swore she was kind, smart, and understood real life. I didn't ask what that meant. I just agreed because part of me was tired of saying no to everything that looked like happiness. I checked on my son one last time before leaving. He was asleep, his small hand wrapped around the corner of his blanket. I whispered that I'd be back soon, locked the door, and drove to the cafe downtown. The place was warm and softly lit. The kind of cafe where people talked quietly and cups clinked instead of slammed. I arrived early, as usual. Old habits from fatherhood and work. I sat near the window, ordered a coffee, and told myself not to expect anything. That's when I saw her walk in. She wasn't alone. At first, I thought maybe she was meeting someone else, because beside her stood a little girl, maybe 6 or 7 years old, holding her hand. The girl's hair was neatly braided, her eyes curious and cautious as she scanned the room. The woman looked around, spotted me, and hesitated for a second. I stood up instinctively. She smiled, but there was something nervous in it. "Hi," she said softly as they approached. "I'm Anna." "I'm Daniel," I replied, glancing at the little girl before I could stop myself. "And, hello, this is my daughter, Lily," Anna said, tightening her grip just a bit. "I'm so sorry. My sitter canceled at the last minute and I didn't want to bail completely. I understand if this is too much." For a brief moment, my mind went quiet. No disappointment, no annoyance, just recognition. Because I'd been there. The missed sitters, the guilt, the constant calculation of how much of yourself you were allowed to want when a child depended on you. I looked down at Lily and smiled. "Hi, Lily, I'm Daniel." She nodded once, serious, like she was deciding whether I was safe. I could have said no. I could have politely ended the night right there. A lot of people would have, but instead, something unexpected rose up in me, something warm and steady. "Well," I said, pulling out the chair across from me. I was thinking of ordering dessert anyway. And dessert tastes better when you're not eating it alone. Anna blinked, surprised. "Are you sure?" I nodded. "Absolutely." Lily's eyes lit up just a little at the word dessert. That was all the confirmation I needed. We ordered hot chocolate for Lily and coffee for ourselves. At first, the conversation was cautious. Anna apologized again. I told her she didn't need to. Lily sat quietly, sipping her drink, occasionally glancing at me like she was still taking notes. Eventually, Anna explained that she'd been raising Lily alone since her ex walked out years ago. No drama, no long story, just facts. I told her about my son, about how losing my wife changed everything. We didn't dwell on the pain, but it was there, floating between us like something fragile we both understood. At some point, Lily slid off her chair and wandered toward the small shelf of books the cafe kept for kids. She picked one and sat on the floor to flip through it. Anna watched her with that mix of love and worry only parents know. "She's well behaved," I said. Anna laughed quietly. "Most days. Today she's probably deciding whether she likes you." "Well, that's a tough panel," I said. "I hope I pass." That's when I did the unexpected thing. I reached into my pocket and pulled out my phone, opened a picture, and slid it across the table. "That's my son," I said. "Ethan." Anna's face softened immediately. "He's adorable. He's everything," I replied. "And that's why I get it. Showing up with your kid isn't baggage. It's honesty." Her eyes filled just a little, and she looked away, blinking fast. "Thank you," she whispered. The night shifted after that. The tension faded. We talked about normal things, work, favorite movies, childhood memories. Lily eventually brought the book over and sat closer, listening. When the dessert arrived, I split my slice of cake and slid half toward her without thinking. She looked up at her mom for permission. Anna nodded. "Thank you," Lily said, her voice small but clear. "You're welcome," I said. Cake is meant to be shared. By the time we left the cafe, it felt less like a first date and more like the end of a pleasant evening with people you'd known longer than a few hours. Outside, the air was cool. Lily yawned and leaned against her mom. "I had a really nice time," Anna said, adjusting Lily on her hip. "I know it wasn't what you signed up for." "Actually," I said honestly, "it kind of was. Just didn't know it yet." She smiled, really smiled this time. We exchanged numbers. No pressure, no promises. As they walked away, Lily turned and waved at me. I waved back, feeling something I hadn't felt in a long time, quiet hope. A week later, Anna texted me. She asked if I'd like to meet again. This time, she suggested the park. "Kid-friendly," she wrote. I replied, "Perfect. I'll bring my son." That afternoon, I introduced Ethan to Lily. They sized each other up the way kids do, then bonded over a shared dislike of spinach and a mutual love of swings. Anna and I sat on a bench, watching them run back and forth, laughter cutting through the air. "Looks like they get along," she said. "Yeah," I replied. "That's usually the hardest part." Over the next few months, we took things slow. Movie nights at home, picnics, board games. Sometimes it felt awkward, blending routines, learning boundaries. Sometimes it felt surprisingly natural. The kids argued, made up, laughed, and slowly started referring to each other as siblings without even realizing it. One night, after the kids were asleep, Anna and I sat at my kitchen table, mugs of tea between us. She reached for my hand. "I never thought I'd get this again," she said. "Me neither," I admitted. We didn't rush into labels or big promises. Life had taught us both how fragile things could be, but we showed up, every day, for each other, for the kids. Years later, Lily would tell people the story in her own way. She'd say, "My mom went on a date and brought me because she didn't have a sitter, and he didn't get mad. He shared his cake," Ethan would add, "and then they fell in love." They weren't wrong. What started as a blind date turned into something neither of us expected, not because it was perfect, but because it was real. I didn't do anything heroic that night. I just chose kindness over convenience. And sometimes, that choice changes everything. So if you ever find yourself in a moment that doesn't look the way you imagine, someone shows up with more than you expected, with a story, with a child, with a life already in progress, remember this: the unexpected isn't always a problem. Sometimes, it's the beginning.